All right, graphing or linear equations. Identify the coordinates. Oh, wait. So the first one really just starts you out with giving you a problem to read. Sorry, I'm trying to make a pretty one so I can just copy it real quick. So you have the x-axis is the horizontal one, and the y-axis is the vertical one. So this is my x. This is my y. You have positive numbers as you go to the right on your x, and you have negative numbers as you go to the left. And then on the y, you have positive numbers as you go up and negative numbers as you go down, okay? So the first one really just starts you out with something like this and says, okay, tell me the name of, or the point for that. What is that point? So every point is in the ordered pair. An ordered pair, a pair is two, and an order means there's an order. The x comes first, the y comes second. So you always go towards the x first and then to the y. So x right here is at 3, and the y is at -2. So the way you write this pair is 3, -2, okay? So the first one just gives you a picture, and you just got to write the point, okay? So hopefully you can get through these or test it out of these. That's fine. The next one, you are actually plotting a point. So this one is 2, 7. So what that means is my x is 2 and my y is 7. So I go to 2 on my x and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 on my y. And you have the point 2, 7, okay? So you do x2, y7. It's a little easier to do on a computer, I feel like, because everything's spaced out and all pretty for you anyways. So, but yeah, starts out pretty easy. The next part is showing an actual equation. This one will probably set up a table of values that looks like this. I'm not going to work all of them, but -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. And then give you an equation like y equals 2x plus 1. So this is the form, and we'll talk about the different forms in just a second. But what you are doing here on this one is figuring out. So this is a line. A line is made up of all those points. So you can pick any number you want for x and figure out what the y is, or you can pick any number you want for y and figure out what the x is. Here they give you the x's, and you're going to figure out the y. So like if I wanted to figure out this 1 right here, I'm going to plug in x equals 1 to this equation. So I get y equals 2 times 1 plus 1, and I get y equals 3. So that point 1, 3 is going to be one of my points on the line. So you just have to go through and do that for each of those. And then once you get points, you can be able to connect the line and draw them. Okay. Don't think you'll have too much trouble with that. This one just says, that's the same exact problem we just did, but that's fine. I may do this one too then. Sorry, I'm changing this because I want some different answers to pop up here. All right, so this one right here says determine if the point is that. It is on the line, so you have the point 1, 3. So this is saying x is 1 and y is 3. So what you're looking at here is saying you plug this in and see if it works. So we're saying if I put a 3 in for my y and a 1 in for my x, does that match up, okay? And if it does match up, then it is on the line. So this would be 2 plus 1 is 3, and 3 does equal 3. So yes, this one is on the line, okay? So to determine if it is a solution, you just plug the x and the y in, and if it works out, then it is on the line. To do the next one, if I have 3x plus y equals -1. So here I have -2 and 3. So x equals -2 and y equals 3. So I plug a -2 in for my x and a 3 in for my y. And we're saying, does that equal -1? So that would be -6 plus 3. -6 plus 3 would be -3. -3 does not equal -1. So that point is not on the line. Okay. So you can use these points to plot the line. You can use these points to check to see if they are on the line. One of the things that you can do, I was trying to think on Alex, this is a little different. One of the things you can do is you can actually always graph no matter how far you go in in math, like you can always graph these by picking points. Like if you pick enough points, you can always draw the shape of it. So like this one right here, I don't know for sure if Alex gives you the number that you pick, but it says find a solution if x equals 4, okay? So this is kind of saying the same thing, and you can actually start to pick your own numbers, and we'll do that on one of these probably. But if x equals 4, I'm going to take a 4 and plug it in for my x, and I get y equals 12 minus 2, so y equals 10. So that means the point 410 is a solution, so, okay, for this. So you can actually pick any x you want and figure out what the y is. Or you can pick any y you want and figure out what the x is. I know I'm going through these ones fast at the beginning, but we want to focus more on the graphing part, right? Let's get through the basics there. All right. So for the basics, let's do a quick little intro before I go into actual problems. You have an equation like ax plus by equals c. This is called the standard form. We don't use that too much like that, but this is a linear equation because you have an x and a y. You don't have like a y squared or anything like that. It's just an x and a y. The form that we use the most is y equals mx plus b, which you've probably heard before. This is the form that tells us everything. There are two things that are very, very important when we go to graph or write equations or do anything. That is the m is the slope and the b is the y-intercept. Okay, so the m is my number in front of the x. The m is the number in front of x. This is my slope. Okay, the words we think about in our slope is rise over run. Okay, how much it goes up or down, how much it's rising or falling versus the run. Now, when I do this, and this is the best way to do it, we read from left to right. So we always want to think from left to right. So we start at, well, I'll tell you where we start in just a second. But we have a point and we go up if it's positive and down if it's negative. And then you always move to the right. Okay, since we read left to right, you always want to move to the right. So you go up if it's positive or down if it's negative and move to the right. My b, which is the number over here by itself, is the y-intercept. This is to find the y-intercept. We'll do this in a second, but I kind of want to say it. To find the y-intercept, you always make x be 0. This is our starting point. Okay, this is our starting point in a graph. So like when we do move to real life scenarios, if you sell 0 products, this is how much profit you're going to make or how much loss you're going to have. Every product you sell, you start to make money. So your profit is rising. One thing that they never tell you is the x and the y. The x and the y are variables in the equation, and that's the points that we were just talking about. This is any point on the line. It is very nice to get... when you get an equation with any kind of math or science class, to write down what every variable means and kind of have a list. So when you get word problems or different things like that, it really helps you. Trying to think of other equations that we may need. We'll wait till we get to them. That's all we need right now. All right. So graphing this equation right here. So when you graph it, you always want two things. You want the m and the b, the slope and the y-intercept, okay? The slope and the y-intercept. So it's nice when you have an equation just to write y equals mx plus b underneath it so it all matches up. So on this one, my slope is 4. That's the number in front of x. When we talk about slope, you always have rise over run, so it's nice to write them as a fraction. So if we want to write this as 4 over 1, right? 4 divided by 1 is the same thing as 4. Every time you see the slope, your brain should think about, okay, how much is it going up? How much is it going down? How much am I going to the right? So this is positive 4, so I'm going to go up 4 to the right 1, okay? Up 4 to the right 1. And then my y-intercept on this one, well, it's kind of missing, isn't it? There's nothing right here. It's just like a plus 0. So it is actually 0. This is my starting point. I'm going to write start here, okay? So I always start here. Your y-intercept is always your starting point. So I'm going to start at y equals 0. And then I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4 to the right 1. Okay, so from this point, I go up 1, 2, 3, 4, and to the right 1. And that is my line. Okay, so what we did here is we started at y equals 0. and then we went up 1, 2, 3, 4 to the right 1. And that's my slope. And that's all you have to do. Once you have 2 points, you can draw a line and make your graph. All right, let's do another one. We're going to keep doing a lot of these, I guess. All right, y equals negative 2x. Again, if it helps you, you can write mx plus b right underneath it because it does kind of help you see it. So my m is my slope. The number in front of x this time is negative 2. As a fraction, that's negative 2 over 1. So I'm going to go down 2 because it's negative. So up if it's positive, down if it's negative. The bottom number always tells you how much to go to the right. I'm going to go down 2 to the right 1. And then my y-intercept again on this one, there is nothing there, so it is going to be 0. That is my starting location. So I start at 0. Then I'm going to do what my slope says. It says down 2 to the right 1. So I go down 1, 2 to the right 1, and I can draw my line. So once again, I started at 0, 0, and I go down 2, because it's negative, and to the right 1. Positive up, negative down, always go to the right. All right, next one, y equals 3x minus 2. All right, so now we actually have a y-intercept here. My slope is the number in front of x, which is 3, or 3 over 1. So that would be up 3 because it's positive 3, and to the right 1. Every time you do slope, think about that. If positive up, negative down, the bottom number tells me to go to the right. My y-intercept is going to be negative 2. That is my starting location. Okay. So let me draw some lines here. On Alex, you won't have to draw these lines because they ought to be there for you. Okay, so I start at negative 2. I start at y equals negative 2. And then I do what my slope says. I go up 1, 2, 3 to the right 1. Okay. So I started at y equals negative 2. And then I went up 3 to the right 1. All right, the next one is y equals negative 5x plus 1. On this one, my slope is the number in front of x, negative 5. So that's negative 5 over 1. I'm going to go down 5 to the right 1. And my y-intercept is 1. That is my starting spot. All right, so I'm going to start at y equals 1, and then I go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Whoops, don't put a dot there. Down 5 to the right 1. Okay, so I started at 1. I went down 5 to the right 1 and did what my slope says. Making a little bit of sense? Yes. Okay. All right, next one. We get into fraction slopes here. Why is it not changing colors? Y equals 1/2 x plus 3. So I get fraction slopes here, but nothing's going to change. My number in front of x is my slope. So that is 1/2. It is positive, so I'm going to go up 1 to the right 2. And then my y-intercept is 3. That is my starting location, so I'm going to start at 3. So I start at y equals 3, and then I do what my slope says. It says I'm going to go up 1 to the right 2, up 1 to the right 2. So I started at 3. I'm sorry. Yeah, I did start at 3. I start at 3 and I go up 1 to the right 2.
Will they ever write it as like graph a line with a slope of instead of writing it as an equation, or would they always be like an equation?
No, sometimes they'll do that. I think we run into that in a second. Sometimes they just give you the slope and the y-intercept and say graph it, yeah. But anytime you are graphing, you're always looking for the slope and the y-intercept. So if they give it to you, like, that's good. But
you said this stuff was on Canvas too, like the notes and stuff. Where do I find?
I'll show you when I get done. That's fine. But yeah, all these notes are uploaded to Canvas, and the videos will be there as well. All right, on this one, my slope is negative 2/3, so it's negative, so I'm going to go down 2 to the right 3, and my y-intercept is at negative 1. That's where I'm going to start. Okay, so you always need the m and the b when you're writing equations, when you're graphing equations. That's always the important stuff. So I start at negative 1, and then I go down 2 to the right 3. So I started at negative 1, I went down 2 to the right 3.
Is there any situation where we would ever go like left on the x-axis?
The only time you would actually have to go left is if you're like, if you have the one on Alex, like the little box that they make, and you're going off the box. Like if you go to the right, you go off the box. There's almost no scenarios where that's going to happen. Okay. But if you happen to go left, I hate to even say this because I don't want to confuse you, you do the exact opposite. Okay. So the exact opposite of down 2, right 3 would be up 2, left 3. Okay, so you would do the opposite. I don't think you'll ever run into a scenario. There's only like one problem I can think of in all my classes that happens on. And I'm actually going to email Alex and tell him to fix it because I don't like it. All right. The next one is in this ax plus by equals c form. I do not want to have to graph it like that. So what you want to do is convert it to y equals mx plus b. So we did a little bit of this last week. We want to get y by itself. So to get y by itself, I'm going to get rid of the things that are bugging y. I'm going to subtract 2x over. And I get 3y equals negative 2x plus 6. And then to get to get y completely by itself, I'm going to divide both sides by 3. So the 3's cancel out, and I get y equals negative 2/3 x. 6 divided by 3 is 2. Make sure you divide both things by 3. I divide the 2 by 3, and I can divide the 6 by 3. Everything in the equation is being divided by 3. Now we have it in that same form that we just did, and I can go through my graphing steps and say, okay, my y equals mx plus b, it's now in that form. So my m is negative 2/3, so that would be down 2 to the right 3, and my y-intercept is at 2. So I start at 2, and I go down 2 to the right 3. I started at y equals 2, and I go down 2 because it's negative 2 and to the right 3. I know we just had that conversation about going left, but like, don't do it. The top number tells you if it's positive up, negative down. The bottom number just always go to the right. All right, so one more of these. So again, I want to get y by itself. So I'm going to subtract 4x from both sides, and I have negative y equals negative 4x plus 8. Do not put the 4x and the 8 together. The 4 has an x with it, the 8 doesn't. And then I need to get rid of this negative, so I'm going to divide both sides by negative 1. So negative 4 divided by negative 1 would be 4. 8 divided by negative 1 would be 8. Negative 8. All right, so to graph this, we are now in the y equals mx plus b form. Again, it doesn't hurt to write that underneath because then it makes it match up real easy. The 4 and the m are right here. So m is 4, which is 4 over 1. That would be positive, so up 4 to the right 1. And my y-intercept is at negative 8. So I'm starting here at negative 8, and then I go up 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 to the right 4. I'm sorry, to the right 1. Up 4 to the right 1. So I started at y equals negative 8, and I went up 4 to the right 1.
Don't you count like the bottom point though? Isn't that 5?
1, 2, 3, 4. It's from this point, so you just count 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh, okay.
It's a little easier to do on a computer when you don't have my drawings to deal with too, so yeah. All right, some weird case scenarios or different case scenarios. These are actually pretty easy. You just got to know them, though. There's no rhyme or trick to it. I'll try to tell you some secrets. This one, x equals 5. When you have x equals a number, any number, it is always going to be a vertical line. It is always going to be a vertical line. The way this works is if I have x equals 5, and if you forget, this is kind of how you can remember. If I go put a point at x equals 5, like x equals 5 right there, it doesn't really make, I don't have any other points to work with, right? It doesn't really make sense to do it this way, and hopefully you know that it's either horizontal or vertical. The only thing that makes sense is to do it this way, because what this is saying is it doesn't matter what y is, x is always going to be 5. So like right here, x is 5, y is 0. Up here, x is 5, y is, 7. Down here, x is 5, y is negative 10. It does not matter what y is, x is always going to be 5, is what that is saying, okay? So it creates a vertical line. We'll probably talk more about this in a second, but the slope of this line, okay, what happens is I'm going up, right? I'm going up. Oops. From right here, I go up, but I never go to the right. So let's say I go up like 5, and then I never go to the right. Well, 5 divided by 0 is undefined, right? You cannot divide by 0. You never can divide by 0. So when you see x equals a number, you know that it is vertical line and the slope is undefined. Okay? Those are kind of all go together. All right, what about y equals a number? Okay, if I have y equals a number, it is going to be a horizontal line. And again, hopefully you start to recognize that if it's x equals a number or y equals a number, it's one or the other. So if you forget, I go to y equals negative 3. It's not going to make any sense to draw it this way. So I'm going to draw it this way. And this says the same thing as the last thing. It does not matter what x is. Y is always going to be 0, or y is always going to be negative 3. So if x is 5 over here, y is still negative 3. If x is negative 9 over here, y is still negative 3. No matter what x is, y is always negative 3. Okay? The slope on this one always goes to the right, right? It always goes to the right, so it may go to the right 5. I'm sorry. The top number's up or down, right? This one's always going to the right. It doesn't go up or down at all. So it doesn't go up or down is 0, and it may go to the right like 5, so my slope on this one is 0. Okay? So when you see y equals a number, you are thinking it is a horizontal line, and my slope is 0. And we'll probably write these slopes back out in a second when we talk more about slope. But x equals a number is a vertical line, and y equal number is a horizontal line. All right. X and y intercept. This one, I think it gives you a picture. So if I have this picture, so the x-intercept is where it crosses the x-axis. The y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis. So my x-intercept here would be right here at this point right here, 4, 0. And my y-intercept would be where it crosses the y-axis, which is 0, 2. Ignore this right here because I did it backwards. Okay, so this one, you're just looking at a picture and seeing where it crosses. So again, the x-intercept where it crosses the x-axis, and the y-intercept is where it crosses the y-axis. So this is my x-intercept, and this is my y-intercept. All right, so how do we find the y-intercept or the x-intercept when you have an equation? The way you do this is to find the x-intercept, you make y be 0 and solve for x. Okay? So to find the x-intercept, you make y be 0. So I put a 0 in for my y, and I solve for x. Here I'm going to add 4 to both sides, and I get 4 equals 2x. Divide by 2, and x equals 2. So my x-intercept is at 2, 0. So to find the x-intercept, you make y be 0. To find the y-intercept, you make x be 0. So you do the opposite of which one. To find the x-intercept, you make y be 0. To find the y-intercept, you make x be 0. Now, when this is in y equals mx plus b, you know that's your y-intercept, right? So we really don't have to work this problem, but just because you get y equals -4. So my x is 0, my y is -4. All right, I think I might skip that one. I want to go to this next one, yeah. All right, on this one, same thing. To find the x-intercept, I'm going to make y be 0. So I have 3x plus 5y equals 15. I want to make y be 0 to find my x-intercept. So 3x plus 5, I put a 0 in for my y. 5 times 0 is just 0, so I really just have 3x equals 15. Divide by 3, and x is 5. So my x-intercept is at 5, 0. So to find the x-intercept, you make y be 0. To find the y-intercept, you make x be 0. So I plug a 0 in for my x. 3 times 0 is just 0, so that goes away. So you have 5y equals 15. Divide by 5, and y equals 3. So my y-intercept, I make x be 0, and I get my y-intercept of 0, 3. You can graph, like you can use those to graph it, right? If I have 2 points, then I can graph it. Hold on, I want to see if there was... Oh, we'll do that in just a second, yeah. But as long as you have 2 points, you can graph it. So we can draw a line through those 2 points, and we can get our answer. So, like, you can graph using y equals mx plus b. You can graph by plugging in points. You can graph by the x and y intercept. I'm probably always going to use y equals mx plus b because I feel like that's easier. So, like this one right here, they just give you the x and y intercept and say graph it. So if my x-intercept is at 3, 0, and my y-intercept is at 0, 6, I can draw my graph. So my y-intercept was 0, 6, my x-intercept was 3, 0. Okay. So there are some that are quick like this, like he was saying, that they just give you the slope or give you the y-intercept here. That gives you the x-intercept and y-intercept, and you just plot them and draw a line through them. All right. This one says, let's graph it by first finding its x and y-intercept. Use a different color here. Why didn't it? Sorry. So, I feel like my iPad is struggling today. Switch colors. Okay. To find my x-intercept on this one, I plug in y equals 0. So I'm plugging a 0 in for the y. That 0 just goes away, so I have 2x equals 4. Divide by 2, and x is 2. So my x-intercept is at the point 2, 0. Okay. So now let's find our y-intercept. Our y-intercept, we make x be 0. So 2x plus y equals 4. I make x be 0. 2 times 0 just goes away, so I have y equals 4. So these are at 0, 4. Oh, and I put that x-intercept on the y, didn't I? No one stopped me. Let me just erase all that. I'll start over on there. So used to finding the y-intercept, I put it on the...
It starts to sound like a different language.
Starts to sound like a different language. All right, so my x-intercept is right here at 2, and my y-intercept is up here at 4. There we go. So my x-intercept was 2, 0. My goodness. 2, 0, and my y-intercept is 0, 4. So you can graph it by using the x and the y-intercept. Just mentioned that. Now we had a topic on it. All right. The next one, classifying slopes. Give me just a second. Let me draw some pictures here. Oh, no. That's going to bug me. Got to make it a little bit smaller. Okay, there are 4 different kinds of slope. We have talked about all of them so far. The first one is positive slope. Positive slope goes up from left to right. Up from left to right. Okay, so it's like you're going up a mountain. Here, I'll tell you a silly math joke. Up from mountain, or math humor right here. Negative slope goes down from left to right. When you get to college algebra, they talk about things like it falls to the left and rises to the right. On the negative would rise to the left and fall to the right. But we just look at it from left to right. Okay, as it goes up, it goes down. So it's like walking down a mountain, right? The horizontal line we talked about, that has a slope of 0, right? This is always y equals a number. Okay? That's like you're walking on flat ground. So we went up a mountain, we went down a mountain, we're walking on flat ground. And then the last one is undefined. This is always x equals a number. So you went up a mountain for positive, you went down a mountain for negative, you walked on flat ground for 0, and this is like you fall off a cliff and you die and become undefined. There, math humor. So this is the 4 different kinds of slope. On this topic, they will just give you a picture and you just have to pick which one it is. All right, finding a slope when you have points on a grid. This one, 0, 3. This one is kind of hard to do on by hand, so we'll do the best we can. I should have pulled a picture from online. 0, 3, 4, 7. Okay, so they give us this picture right here, and it says, what's the slope? So what you want to do, the tips to this is start on the left, okay? We always start on the left because we read left to right. Start on the left, okay? And then you are going to work up or down to the point on the right. And that's your numerator. All right, up or down is my rise, and then you are going to go to the right. And that's my denominator. Okay. So we start at this point right here on the left, this one right here. And we say to be even with this one, I have to go up 1, 2, 3, 4. I go up 4. And then to go to it, I go to the right 1, 2, 3, 4. To the right, I went 4. Okay. So I went up 4 to the right 4. So now you can reduce it down, and you would say your slope is 4 divided by 4. My slope is 1. Just to reduce that down one more step, because we have not done this yet, this would be like 1 over 1, right? So what this means is this slope, I'm going to use yellow. It's going to be hard to see. But you can actually go up 1 to the right 1, 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 okay? That will actually work no matter where you're at on the graph. The slope is called the rate of change, and it never changes when you're on a line. So up 1 to the right 1, up 1 to the right 1, up 1 to the right 1 is the same thing as like up 4 to the right 4. Okay, so for every 1 I go up, I go 1 to the right. For every product I sell, I make $10. Like it's going to continue like that every time. All right, let me draw this one out real quick. -2, 1. And 3, -4. All right, so on this one, again, we're going to start on the point on the left. We start right here. I go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then I go to the right. 1, 2, 3. I lost count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So my top number is -5. My bottom number is 5. Again, if you reduce this down, this would be -1 over 1 or 1. So on this one, I go down 1 for every time I go to the right 1. I drew this one a little better. You can see it. Down 1 to the right 1, 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 down 1 to the right 1. That will always work. So start on the point on the left, and then you go up or down to try to get even with the point on the right, and then count over to the point on the right. All right. Finding a slope if you're given 2 points. For this one, you are going to use this formula, y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. You are going to find the rise, which is up or down, so you subtract the y's to figure out how much you're going up or down, and then your x's are the sideways ones, so you figure out how much you're going to the right. The y sub 1 and y sub 2, all that means is you have 2 points. You have 2 y's and 2 x's. Okay, so you got one set and the other set. So like if you label these x1, y1, x2, y2. That's fine. You have one xy and then two xy, or two of them, the second one. Okay, so I do, to find my slope, I do y sub 2, which is 9, minus y sub 1, which is 3, over x sub 2, which is 5, minus x sub 1, which is 2. So 9 minus 3 is 6, 5 minus 2 is 3. And my answer is 2. Okay? It does not matter which one you make be your second point and which one you make be your first point. So like if I wanted to say this was x1, y1, and this is x2, y2, that's fine. You just have to keep, what you have to do is you have to keep, let me write it out real quick and I'll say it. Y sub 2 minus y sub 1 over x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Okay? What you have to do is make sure you keep this 4 with this 1. And what I mean by that is if you start with the 4 on top, you got to start with the negative 1 on the bottom. If you look, this is one of my points. That's this point right here. And then this is one of my points right here. So if you start with this one on top, you need to start with this one on the bottom. That's what you got to make sure. It doesn't matter if you do this one first or this one second. All right, so now 4 minus negative 2 would be positive 6, right? That turns minus and negative turns into plus. And negative 1 minus 3 would be negative 4. Remember, we don't write the negative on the bottom, so we want to change this. We can also divide both of those by 2. So this is going to be negative 3 over 2. And that would be my answer. I move my negative to top because positive, remember a whole fraction is either positive or negative. So this is positive divided by negative is negative. So the whole thing is negative. So this one we go down 3 to the right 2. All right, let's see if you remember. What is the slope of y equals 7? What kind of line is y equals 7? All right, I got both my answers there. Horizontal line, and my slope is 0. Okay, so if it's x equals a number, my slope is undefined, and it is a vertical line. All right, we're almost done. We'll just do like one of each of these because we kind of went over everything, I think. All right. I don't know what is different about this one than the one we did earlier, but we'll do it real quick. So on this one, you have 5x plus 2y equals 10. So the first thing you want to do is put it in y equals mx plus b. So I'm going to subtract 5x from both sides, and I get 2y equals negative 5x plus 10. And then to get y completely by itself, I divide by 2. So y equals negative 5 halves x plus 5. So my slope is the number in front of x, negative 5 halves. So I go down 5 to the right 2. And my y-intercept is at 5. So I start at 5, and then I go down 5 to the right 2. So I go down 5, because it's negative 5 to the right 2, and I started at y equals 5. All right, 3 or 4 more, then we'll take a break. Oh, this is the one that he was asking about. This one just flat out tells me my y-intercept and my slope. So this one should make it easy. My slope is at 0, negative 3. Why are we not? And my slope is 2, okay? So I start at negative 3. My slope is 2, so that means I go up 2 to the right 1. So I started at 0, negative 3. I went up 2 to the right 1 for my slope. I feel like the way that these topics are separated, it may not be the exact order that you go in. Like this one probably comes towards the beginning. This one also right here probably comes to the beginning because this one says find my slope, find my y-intercept. So the slope is the number in front of x, and the y-intercept is the number by itself. I don't think it makes you write it that way, but just in case. If it says to find the slope and the y-intercept of this one, if I ask you what's the slope of this one, what would you say? Close. So yeah, I've been saying the slope is the number in front of x, but that only works when it's in y equals mx plus b. You have to put it in y equals mx plus b first to find the slope. So I need to subtract 2x, and I get negative 2x plus 9, and then I divide by 3, and y is equal to negative 2/3 x. 9 divided by 3 is 3. So my slope, I guess we do have to do this, right? The slope is negative 2/3, and my y-intercept is 3. So you have to put it in y equals mx plus b before you try to identify the slope. And then last topic here, it says graph it by first finding the slope and the y-intercept. I feel like we've done this a couple times, but we'll do it one more. So get y by itself first. Negative 3x plus 5. So here my slope is negative 3, which would be what? Down 3 to the right 1. And my y-intercept is at 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I start at 5. I go down 1, 2, 3 to the right 1. So I started at y equals 5. I went down 3 to the right 1.